Welcome once again on Inside Timer. Happy to see you here, happy to be here. As we always do, I give you a minute or two to settle in, for everybody to connect. So, whilst this is happening, please say your hellos, tell me where you're coming from, and perhaps answer the question I ask on the forum: what is being to you? Today's topic: being versus doing, and what it really means, we'll be exploring during this session. Another rainy morning here in Sydney. We've been having quite a lot of rain, and now this should come to an end. We should have back our wonderful sunny weather. But in the meantime, I think that's what nature needs, a bit of rain. After last year, bushfires, this is the response of nature to natural way of being. After fire comes rain. Let me just take a look at everyone. My friends Dave, Amy, Denise, Tamara, Robin, Jackie. Good to see you all here. Robin says good afternoon from New Jersey. All of my listeners from the US. Elizabeth says hello from Broadstairs, UK. Liz from Philly, wonderful. I decided to put some music on today, and I hope you enjoy it. I will bring it a bit up when we start the actual meditation part of the session. But for now, as I said, just settle in. Dee says hello from West Virginia. My first time here. Thank you, Dee, actually, for saying that, because I kind of do those sessions every week, and I hardly ever introduce myself. I always forget. I treat you all as friends, and very frequently I forget to introduce myself. So my name is Tomek, and first and foremost, I'm a scientist. I've been trained as a scientist, did my Ph.D. in organic chemistry. Very hard science indeed, spent quite a few years in the lab. But what I enjoy right now, it's the lab that is here, the science and the lab of myself and consciousness exploration. A wonderful way of performing experiments. And I think that's what I invite you to explore yourself, to run experiments on yourself, mental experiments in the meditation space, in the mental space, which is absolutely fascinating, by the way, and that's why I'm so drawn to it. I'm also a teacher here on Inside Timer, but I frequently say I'd rather call myself an educator rather than meditation teacher. I always wonder if you can teach someone meditation. Meditation is a very personal thing, and meditation, it's paying attention to the self. And it's something that it's so simple, but as it turns out, not very easy. So here I am, trying to share with you the results, the fruits of my self-exploration, and how I put all the knowledge I gained, the book knowledge sometimes, and how I translate it into the language of my own experience. And another language I use is science. Science is a very good language to talk about those things, but ultimately it's about your first-hand experience, and that's what these sessions are focused on your first-hand experience. Genevieve says, I'm too much into doing. Yeah, I think we all are. And Frank, Christine, Caroline, Sharon, all welcome here. Good friends. Dave. I wonder if Charlotte is here. Anyway. So today's session is what is doing versus being? Let's start with doing, because that's something that we are accustomed to. We are accustomed to it to the extent that we don't even think. And we are not think, we do think, we are not being aware that all our life is wrapped around doing things. I think that's something that we're being taught from the very beginning. To study, to learn, and most importantly, to look for fulfillment and happiness somewhere in the future. If you think about it, learning it's something that you will reap fruits of in the future. You go to school and you go through first grade, second grade, and at the end you get grades. And it's never now. And I think that's the fundamental difference between the doing, the customary, ordinary doing, versus being. That doing that I speak of here is very often in the future. We're looking forward to reap the fruits of doing somewhere in the future, maybe in an hour, maybe in a minute, maybe next year, maybe next semester, but relates to the future. And we are acting as the happiness and fulfillment lies somewhere ahead of us, never here. And what is here? We are not aware of it, but very often is anxiety, is stress, is anticipation. Another way of thinking about doing is that we depend our fulfillment, happiness on the fruits and outcomes of whatever we do. It's not important that we are working on an essay. It's not important that we're performing a task right now. This is not important. What is important is what will happen when we accomplish it. And again, if you think about it for a moment, this way will never keep you satisfied, because the fulfillment of it is in the future. It's unattainable. And that's important for everyone, for instance, who starts a business. Business, it's a slow process during which you perform many tasks in order to take your business, take your idea from A to B, from the idea, from the thought to the fulfillment. But if you only tell yourself that this only will be accomplished in a couple of years, this is a very difficult ask. This is a very difficult thing to do. So doing is in the future, so to speak, and from the mental perspective. And that's not the way to live. And that's why focus on the being. At the beginning of the session, I said to you, we are not human doings, we are human beings. There's something about it. I don't believe many people actually pay attention to the nature of the fact that we are human beings. We must focus on the right here, right now. And I think Eckhart Tolle, in his Power of Now, that's what he tries to give to us. That's what he tries to deliver. The message is in the title, The Power of Now. He invites us to be, not to do, but to be right here, right now, in the present moment. And now, if you think about it, what are the qualities of being? First of all, there's no judgment about the present moment, because present moment is as is. Being in the present moment contains the equanimity of things. It's not judgmental. It goes beyond the intellectual part, which is contained by doing. Doing is the head thing. Being is the heart thing. So when you're in your heart, that's the level of being. And one of my favorite sayings goes, the longest journey you're ever gonna take, it's only 30 centimeters long from your head to your heart. And I think that's what I invite you to do, to take that journey from your head to your heart. And this is a very simple, but not easy thing to do. And that's what I use my meditation practice for. To bring myself back to the center of my being and go above the doing. And the moment that happens, there's no need for judgment, because you just are. And things start flowing rather than require much of an effort. In today's meditation, I will ask you to focus on the center of your heart and see how the descent from doing to being happens. And for me personally, this is not always an easy journey. Sometimes it's a rocky road because of my compulsive thinking and my compulsive nature drags me and draws me strongly towards my mind, towards doing. And indeed, it requires a lot of effort at first to bring yourself to the level of being. But once you're there, there's no effort required. You just observe and you enjoy what there is. And that's another difference between doing and being. Doing is anticipation. It's looking forward. Being, it's spontaneous joy, fulfillment. You have arrived. You still may deepen the sense of being. Absolutely, there's a vast universe within that word. It's not just a one state. There's a vastness of space, of expansion to explore there. Absolutely. Actually, that space is much more vast than any doing you're ever gonna do. But it requires that initial effort to settle our mind, to somehow, some way convince yourself that things are happening regardless of our control of them. And that's what I spent my time in meditation, bringing myself to the state of being, which for so many of us, I acknowledge that, is not easy. All the stress, all the anxiety, all the things to think of, they refer to the level of doing, not being. So what do you think, guys? Shall we do some being? And shall we find out for ourselves how it feels? That's one thing I cannot possibly give you or offer you. I cannot offer you the experience of being. Experience of being is all about you getting there. Not even getting there, you're already there. But switching from doing to being. And there's no doubt once you're there. That's the important part, maybe before we start meditation. Something that you need to know. You don't have to second guess yourself. Am I there yet? Am I there? No, once you're there, you know it. The quality of being is unmistakable. But again, not something I can talk about, not something I can describe, but something that only you can experience. And now maybe last note for those of you who think, oh well, so doing is bad. Absolutely not. I encourage you, all of you, to still perform your tasks, to live your life. However, recognize that doing can flow from the level of being. And how to recognize it? Well, very frequently, where you're in the moment, where you're in the zone. All of you, I'm sure, had a moment or two in your life when you are in the zone. You're still doing what you're doing, you're performing, but it flows from this present moment, from the level of being, and it's effortless. You want to be more. You want to do whatever you do in this very present moment. You are engaged, you are present, you are aware. The quality of it, it's again unmistakable. There's no doubt, oh, am I in the zone? Am I right here, right now? No. You have no doubt. Because you so want to continue what is happening, being in the present moment. And again, that flowing, that flow that comes from, that flow of doing that comes from being is absolutely essential. And that's why importance in meditation of bringing yourself back, and start your every day, if possible, with bringing yourself through a training, through a practice of meditation to the level of being, so the rest of your day can flow from that place. And every task you perform ideally comes from the level of being. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the chat, and perhaps you have questions before we start. Karen, that being happens for me when I'm swimming. I want it to go forever. Karen, that's exactly what that is. Usually a being happens, and again I quote unquote say being, we are in the now, we experience the power of now, frequently through the exercises, through the tasks that we love and that we enjoy. For Karen, it's swimming. For me, maybe it's volleyball or surfing or being with my partner Sharon. That's where being happens. And that's the way to explore it in the first place. The state of being. Okay. Jamie asks, do you think being is the same as flow? I think very much so. That what in the sports they call it the zone, or maybe in the business world they say state of flow. That's where you in the power. That's where you tap into power of now. Yeah, that's the being I'm talking about. It's unmistakable, and for most of us it hasn't happened too many times. So most likely we can identify those moments that we were in the now, in the being, because they're amazing. They really feel great. But keep in mind, this is not, there are many different levels of being. And there's a depth to explore there as well. Marisha says, for me it's watercolor painting, but I'm afraid that if I do it for work, it'll change. That's a very good point. Very often when we start doing something for money, there is the intellectual aspect of it. Okay, that's what I mentioned before. Doing very often has the intellect entangled with it. And our intellect, by its nature, intellect contains ego. By its nature, it draws us out of being. And that's why there's a very balance between doing and being. It's an art. How to do coming from the being level. Very, very difficult thing to do, I'd say, but worth trying. Okay, so right now, let us try to embody and let us try to practice the being. And meditation is a wonderful tool to do just that. As I said, the longest journey you're ever going to take It's only 30 centimeters long. It's from your head to your heart. And that's exactly what we'll be trying to do today. It requires an effort. Indeed. It will take some time to continuously bring yourself from your head to your heart, from your head to your heart. Sean Salzberg says that meditation is the journey, it's the path of 1,000 returns, or journey of 1,000 returns, right? But eventually, with enough effort and enough commitment, you settle in. And that's what it's all about. And you stay there for as long as you can. Okay, let us begin. Just a last technical question. Please let me know if the level of music is alright for you. I try to make it pleasant for you. Too loud. Okay, what about now? Okay. Okay. Okay, let us get started. The being itself is effortless, and that's why at the beginning of every meditation, I ask you to make yourself at ease, to remove all those obvious obstacles that are standing in the way of your relaxation. And the level of being, your body is relaxed. You still are alert, but the same relaxed. Because you know that things are right. That's the nature of being. There's no fear in being. It's removed out of the equation. So the easiest way to do it, rest your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap. Perhaps roll your shoulders back if there's any tension, and then drop it away from your ears. It's always a good way to start. And now you're ready to begin the journey from the head to your heart. So let us take a couple of deeper breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Allow your eyes to close. And begin by setting your intention. And my intention for you and for myself is to allow the descent into being, whatever it means to you personally. Set an intention to discover what being is if you haven't experienced it before. And discover the subtle border between being and doing and how to cross it. It's going to take time. It is going to take a bit of effort, but we are here together. And that makes things much easier. The power of togetherness. So allow your eyes to close. And since this is an inner journey at first, I'll ask you now to turn your gaze inside. First of all, start being aware of your physical body and how it feels. Your physical body is the vessel of the consciousness. The consciousness permeates your body. And that's why it is important to start here. If there is any discomfort, try to soften it. Recognize any obvious internal signals. What is your body telling you right now? And slowly start settling in. Today we are going to use a simple method of anchoring yourself through your breath in the center of your heart. We believe that the electromagnetic field that surrounds you is produced predominantly with your heart. And that's where our attention goes. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you bring your awareness more and more with each in-breath and out-breath towards the center. And what will happen is that thought starts flowing in. The intellect try to cut in. And that's the nature of things. That's why we need 1,000 times, 1,000 returns before we settle in. But we know it's worth it, and we can do it mindfully, together. And my job here is to bring you back every time you find yourself astray. I'll be here by your side, taking the same path, embarking upon the same journey. And with each breath, you descend and connect, coming closer. Slowly, bit by bit. Allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to descend. In spite of everything that your mind tries to tell you. In spite of all the distractions coming from inside and outside. You are strong in your intention. And carry on deeper inside towards being. And then of course your mind wanders. Your intellect being strong, trained over years and years of doing. And that's okay, because I'm here to bring you back. to ask you once again to return to your breath, to the center of your heart, to the being. And there's no need to ask yourself whether you're there yet or not, because that question, that very question, comes from the intellect. The moment you are there, there's no need for questions. All the questions, they drop out. They're no longer necessary. And if your intellect tries to tell you it is hard to do it, say back to your intellect, that's okay. Many things are hard, and yet they are worth it. And being yourself, it is worth the work. Following the natural flow of your breath in and out of the center. And know that you are being supported in this journey. You are not alone. I am here by your side. And everybody that is connected through this meditation meditates with you right now, walking the same path. And in the nature of the journey is that you may wander somewhere else at times, go astray, and that's absolutely normal. And you start returning every time you start being aware that you're somewhere else, going into other direction. And each breath is your opportunity to start fresh and start anew. And you are on the right path as long as you keep returning. And each return is the statement of your strong intention. It's the statement behind your commitment to being yourself, connecting with the true self. time to return. You may have glimpses by now of the level of being, and that's usually enough to carry forward. Recognize this is work in progress, slowly descending, continuing this work, this effort throughout the day, and taking with you the energy that you collected through being with yourself and being yourself. And wherever this experience was pleasant or unpleasant, this is just the intellect talking. Remember that this is a good work that brings the fruit, sometimes on the conscious level, sometimes on the unconscious level, but it always works towards your fulfillment, towards your happiness. Even if you don't recognize it now on the conscious level. So give yourself thanks and show yourself gratitude for these moments. Show gratitude for the presence of all others who are walking with you the same path. Power of togetherness. And take that experience with you throughout your day, throughout your evening. And right now, start reconnecting with your physical senses, slowly and mindfully, maintaining the level of being if you can. Bring yourself to the music. Bring yourself to your senses that come through the surface of your skin. Recognize the boundaries of your body, of your physical body, through your skin, through your feet resting on the floor, through your hands in your lap. Add some gentle movement by wiggling your toes, moving and stretching your fingers. Slowly and gently tilt your head to the left, tilt your head to the right, back to the center. And let us take one deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. If you have a glass of water by your side, take a sip and taste it. So how did it feel? Did you have glimpses of the being? How did it feel to you? For me, it's always difficult to put it into words because, like I said, the being is outside of the intellect, and many poets struggle to put those very moments of essence into words. It is a difficult task. It's perhaps harder to describe it rather to experience it, and that's my invitation for you constantly. Yeah, the sense of calmness, that's something that it's always accomplished within the being. You may be in the midst of the task, but you still remain calm, interesting enough, when you zone. Not something I can describe because it's, for the intellect, it's counterintuitive. How can you be, I don't know, running, or how can you be swimming, doing a vigorous physical activity and stay calm? Counterintuitive, isn't it? Yeah, Kathy says floating. Yeah, it is something like floating. Beautiful. Beautiful. So take those moments with you. Whatever you experienced, take it with you throughout your evening or throughout your day. And set yourself a reminder to reconnect with that very moment. Maybe in 2 hours, maybe in 3 hours, unless you're going to bed. Maybe tomorrow. And the more you reconnect with that sense of self throughout the day, the more your life starts flowing from the level of being. Again, it's an effort. It takes work. But that's the way. That's the way of a human being. That's being more human being than human doing. Coming from your heart, less from the head. Ultimately connecting all together in a balanced way. Jose drifted off to sleep a little. Interesting enough, when you're in the sleep state, when you have a decent good night's sleep, the reason why you wake up rejuvenated is because sleep is one of those states when you are in the state of being. A lot of those blockages, a lot of these intellectual blockages are being removed. And that's an important part of your rejuvenation. When you're stressed, constantly on the run, stressed and anxious, that relaxation cannot happen. The rejuvenation of the body could not happen. Keep that in mind. That's why it's so important, the quality of your sleep. It's very important. Okay, so to conclude this session, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being with me. See, for being with me. And also for doing the practice, hopefully from the level of being. It was absolutely wonderful. I always appreciate your presence and your support. Thank you, Insight Timer, for making this possible. And thank you for all your support and donations. If you find any of this work beneficial to you, if you find that there's something useful, or your experience justified, consider donation. Absolutely, I always appreciate them. It supports my work here on Insight Timer. If you want to continue the conversation, join my circle here on Insight Timer. There's a conversation there always, and thank you very much to all of those who continue hosting and being there. I'm always there to answer questions, to support you, but this is a community. And you are the active ingredient of this community. I will also try to publish this on my YouTube channel for those of you who missed a part of the meditation, Tomek guided meditations. That's where you can rewatch it later and actually watch all the previous live sessions, if you will. But for now, I wish you a wonderful evening and a pleasant day. Thank you for being here with me, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next session next week. Bye-bye.